So sorry. I didn't see you there. Hello, my name is Jeff. Today we're going to be talking about ways you can practice modes / scales, okay? So today we're going to be specifically focusing on practicing scales / modes in the interval of a third, in third intervals. Practicing scales intervallically has a lot of benefits. Let's list a few, the top 10 benefits of practicing scales. Number 1, to develop technique. Learning the scales forces your hands to go into positions they wouldn't perhaps go into otherwise. Reason number 2, practicing scales is going to help you learn to visualize the fretboard. Reason 3, it's going to build strength, it's going to build flexibility, and it's going to force you to utilize all your fingers. Reason 4, improvisation. Scales are really useful tools for improvisation. Of course, there perhaps are better tools, example arpeggios, but scales are still very useful for improvisation, particularly when you're trying to see what options of notes you have available along the fretboard. Reason 5, learning scales can teach you a lot about interval recognition. The two things kind of go together, especially if you learn to play them in different interval groups. Like if you learn it in thirds, learn it in fifths, learn it in fourths, learn it in sixths, and that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be learning in thirds. Reason 6, muscle memory. We probably all know how important muscle memory can be when you're playing a piece, and how important it is also for memorizing stuff. Learning scales, especially learning them in intervallic groups or intervallic patterns, whatever, is really good. It's a really good exercise for warming up your fingers. Reason 8. Learning these scales and modes in intervallic patterns is actually a good way to chart your progress. From when you start trying to learn these, you will be able to see your progress if you practice it consistently. Reason 9, you can use these scales and these scale intervallic patterns as a way of procrastinating learning things that are very useful, like a song you could play with your friends. And instead of playing songs with your friends, you could just sit down and play them a lot of scales. Reason 10, you can practice your scales to a metronome and improve your timing skills. So what we're going to be looking at is running through the major scale and modes in ascending thirds. What does this mean? Okay, so instead of just running through a scale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we run it in thirds. So start with a 1, skip the 2 and a 9, and just go straight to the third. Then we go back to the start. So we started on the 1, and the next round is on the 2, and we skip the third to go to the 4th, which makes a minor third. And that's kind of a rule. Skip out the middle interval, go back and repeat. Oh, here we go. Here's a scale. Here's a major scale, C major. It's not incredibly exciting. It's not incredibly inspiring. If we learn it in an intervallic pattern, we can make it more interesting, more exciting, a bit less familiar. Let's run through the modes of a major scale and ascending thirds, starting with Ionian. A few extra tips when you're practicing scales. Try to get away with bending the wrist as little as possible. Having it in this bent position can cause, well, it can cause a repetitive strain if you don't pay enough attention to it. Try to keep the distance between your fingers and the frets as minimal as you can get away with. try incorporate alternate picking, I suppose, with this hand. Obviously, different styles, you want to plug it different. Little bit of advice when you're learning this, okay? So we do have a handout below, so definitely get the handout and download it. The other thing is that I would like to stress is you don't want to be completely dependent on reading the handout. If you learn by just mindlessly following the handout, this material will not be digested long term. You'll be able to read it and you won't develop the ability to play it without the handout. So what I'm trying to say is try to follow the rule to learn this and use a handout if you need to check if you're making mistakes. So thank you for watching. My name is Jeff. Like and subscribe. If you've got any questions or requests, put them in the comments. I'll take a look at them.